Welcome back to my channel, guys. My name is Raggy and today I am bringing you a tier list in which I am going to be taking Gary Oak from Pokemon, that's right, Ash Ketchum's rival, and I'm going to be determining how based his Pokemon choices are. So I've already made videos similar to this one where I rated Ash's choices and Misty's and Brock's, and it's just a thing now. So we're going to continue it on, and I'm going to go with Gary Oak now. So it's going to be pretty interesting. Right out of the gate, I think that his choices are probably going to be pretty based, but you never know until you really, look into it. So without further ado, we're just going to look at the categories here on the left. So we've got completely based, we've got pretty original choices, there are neither or, really, there are excusably basic, so it means that, they are a really basic choice, but they make sense, you wouldn't be judged for using this one, even if it was the most popular Pokemon ever. And then there are just the most completely basic choices out there. So, getting straight into it, just in the order that we see them, is going to be a pretty quick one today, but whatever. Scizor. Okay. Excusably basic, and I think, now that I look at it, this is probably going to be where most of his Pokemon go, if I had to guess, because Scizor, as an example, everyone loves Scizor. Since Gen 2, Scizor has been competitively viable and is just a beast. There is nothing to dislike about Scizor outside of his 4 times weakness to fire. And it is for that reason that he is completely excusable. He is thebomb.com. So there is, Scizor is an example of why there is a reason that he is basic, that he could be construed as basic, is because he is popular for all of the right reasons. So excusably basic. Then Golem. Someone else in a video like this had a Golem, and I'm pretty sure that I said it was pretty original. I believe my rationale was if you get Geodude or Graveler, it's a pretty basic choice because it's like baby's first rock type Pokemon, I guess. But then you have Golem, and it's you have to actually trade him, right? You have to consciously put in effort to get this guy. He's not your run-of-the-mill rock type Pokemon, and he's solid too. So there you go. Pinsir, that's a pretty based choice, honestly. Especially in today's age, there are so many better options. If this were Mega Pinsir, maybe it'd be a little lower down on the list, perhaps. But Pinsir, you don't see anyone using him, and as far as I know, he is competitively viable within his own right. So there you go. Houndoom, I'm gonna say that's still pretty original. I was gonna say neither, but similar to Pinsir, you don't really see anyone using him. He is kind of edgy, what with the dark typing, and he's a cool looking Pokemon, right? Houndoom could feasibly fit into a number of these categories. He could be excusably basic. I would understand if you construed him as totally basic. But yeah, I'm just gonna say it's a pretty original choice. Fearow, the most based choice that you can make. Okay, from as early as Gen 1 when Fearow was introduced, he has always been overshadowed by Pidgeot. And since then, there have just been more and more better flying type options made available. So honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I have always respected Gary for repping Fearow, because I love Fearow. Fearow, I'm in the losing crowd, I think, because I respect Fearow so much, and I get it. Pidgeot is a better choice, but Fearow, he holds his own, he's got his niche. We like Fearow. Then we got Alakazam. Completely basic. Different from Golem because it's the same deal, right? You have to trade him to get him. But the thing is, everyone wants Alakazam. He's the one Pokemon that people who don't play Pokemon know about. Oh, is that an Alakazam? They said about literally any Pokemon ever. It's no, that's not an Alakazam. Jeez. Yeah, it's okay, so the difference between Alakazam and Golem really is just popularity. So if only for how overly popular Alakazam is, totally basic choice, I'm sorry. Skarmory. I'm gonna say excusably basic. To this day, Skarmory serves a decent role in the competitive realm. Predictable as it is, He's a cool looking Pokemon, and if you said that this was your favorite Pokemon purely for its aesthetic, I would have to respect that. So, yeah, I'm going to give him a pass there. Kingdra, I'm going to say neither. Kingdra is really cool, but similar to Skarmory, he's got a niche in the competitive realm, particularly in double battles, rain teams, and the like. He is pretty predictable, but, he's still cool, right? He's cool, but he's predictable. If you're running a doubles rain team, I know that Kingdra is probably on that team. Blastoise, I'm just going to say neither. Universally, almost every starter is probably just going to be in the neither section. And Blastoise, I'm pretty sure Blastoise actually was his starter, right? So it's you can't fault someone for just repping their starter. You got to start somewhere, right? So say what you will, Blastoise is overly popular, and it's well, yeah, but that's the nature of the starter, right? So he gets a pass in my book as being neither based or basic. There you go. Arcanine, I'm sorry, I know fanboys are gonna come for me for this one, but Arcanine is even more basic than Alakazam. And I know people whose favorite Pokemon is Arcanine, and more power to you. I like Arcanine, except in my book, he is one of the most overrated Pokemon. Almost as overrated as the likes of Charizard. And if you disagree with that, well, that sounds like a you problem. Then we got Umbreon, and wow, the roller coaster just keeps going down and down here, because Umbreon is even more basic than Arcanine. That's right, and definitely more basic than Charizard. I'm not sure about that, actually. That's totally open to debate. But Umbreon, okay. Umbreon is without a doubt the most popular evolution. And evolution, just evolutions in general, are almost always just a basic choice if you ask me. Unless you're okay. I would say that of the evolutions, probably Flareon, Jolteon, and Leafeon are the only ones that would be considered not basic to me. But Umbreon, the Dark type, Edgelord's favorite Pokemon, no, that's a basic choice. Then, in the opposite direction, we have Electivire, totally based. This determination probably is different based on what gen you're really talking about, but if we assume we're just in Gen 9, which we are, then Electivire is a completely based decision. Because, okay, in Gen 4, a lot of people used him, but since then he's fallen off the wayside a bit. People don't really, think about him much. You never hear about Electivire anymore. And honestly, I really like Electivire too. So I respect the hell out of Gary for repping him. Then we got Nidoking, and I'm sorry, Nidoking is a pretty basic choice. I know he had him, all the way back in Gen 1, and, it was more excusable back then, but, if he's still repping it today, that's a really basic choice. Then, Dodrio. Dodrio is so based. In the exact same vein as Fearow, Gary's psh, Pidgeot, yeah, baby's first bird Pokemon. I'm not only going to rep Fearow, I'm going to rep Dodrio, the other bird Pokemon that gets completely overshadowed by Pidgeot. Dodrio's got his niche. It's the exact same story as Fearow, and I feel bad for Dodrio because it's I feel like he has so much potential. There's that niche, and everyone just puts Pidgeot in their team instead. He's you get Pidgey right at the start of the game. It's yeah, you also get Spearow. So why not Fearow? And it's you don't wait that long to get Dodrio. Be different. Come on, think outside the box. Okay, then we got Nidoqueen. Everyone knows about Gary's Nidoqueen, and I want to say this is a really basic choice, but if only for the fact that Gary's a dude and he was nah, I'm gonna rep a king and a queen. I'm gonna say that's a little different. I'm not gonna say it's an original move. It's pretty much neither here nor there, right? Okay, most people who raise a Nidoking will probably not raise a Nidoqueen, but he raised both. And honestly, if they'd been reversed, reverse order in this list, I probably would have rated them oppositely, but whatever. You know what? I'm going to change them. They are both going to be excusably basic. Because in their own right, they are. They are well overshadowed now in Gen 9, but still viable. But, raising both of them, I respect that. Then we have Gary's Krabby. If only for the fact that it is a Krabby and not a Kingler, I am going to say this is a pretty original choice. I like Krabby and I like Kingler, but that is a Krabby, and it's a big one. It's a strong Krabby. He got like a top percentage Krabby, and like I'm pretty sure he never even raises it. But the fact that he has one, pretty original. Like I'm pretty sure, like, because we all remember the gag is that Ash was like really excited about catching a Krabby, and he was like always like comparing himself to Gary, and Professor Oak like just casually mentioned that like, oh, Gary also got one. Oh, and it's like twice the size as yours. Blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, we get it. Like, but at the end of the day, like, if you were like playing through the games, right, and you had Krabby on your team with no intention of evolving it, it's pretty original. It's quite original. No one's done that before, probably. Then, lastly on this team, a Pokemon that I actually wasn't even aware that he had, Magmar. And again, if we apply like Gen 9 logic to it today, then Magmar is pretty original. Like I could understand if you took one onto your team, because you can find them. They are out there in the wild. But the fact that it is not evolved into Magmortar, which is like a move that we would expect Gary to make, like especially since like he has Electivire, right? Who's kind of like almost like a counterpart Pokemon to Magmortar, because they were like released at the same time and they're like the same size and they evolve in a very similar fashion. Yeah, it's a pretty original move, Gary. If it were a Magmortar, I'd probably say neither, but it's not. It's Magmar. So there you go, everybody. We have rated all of Gary's Pokemon, and by all, I mean probably a bunch of them. I'm sure that there are actually a bunch of Pokemon belonging to Gary that are not on this list, but with that said, these are the ones that I have rated today, and this is where I've rated it. Looking at this list, I would say that it's turned out pretty down the middle. In fact, he's got a lot of basic choices, a lot of based choices. It's a lot more like evenly spread than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be very original. Not so much, so there you go. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video today, then make sure you give the video a like and subscribe, and make sure to hit the bell icon so you can get instant updates anytime there is a new upload, and then you never have to miss out ever again. In any case, my ragamuffins, thank you so much for watching the video today. Until next time, have a good one.